Hello friend, welcome to Seed and Sparrow Homestead. We're going to jump right into this week's tour. This is week 5 of the 2024 growing season. And if you peeped in the back there, we've made some progress on the fence. So we're going to check that out first and then we'll take a look at what is growing. You can see Matt's made some pretty good progress there, putting in the pickets. Back here though, towards the trees, there's still 3 more panels that we have to finish, but I did get all of my fruit trees planted. So if you missed it, I purchased 6 fruit trees maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and we got a Japanese plum that is self-pollinating, so I only have 1 of those. And then these 2 here are pears. We have a kefir and a Bartlett. And if we walk down here, this is a Pink Lady apple, Macintosh apple, and a Red Haven Freestone peach, which is self-pollinating. The apples needed 2 varieties and the pears needed 2 varieties there. So this is a work in progress. We are gradually laying down cardboard as we acquire it, and we are putting down some mulch. This is actually mulch from the arborvitae that we took down here. So we're putting that to good use again. So this whole section here is all going to be mulched. So far I've just added a few flowering type perennials in here for some landscaping. I have 5 so far. I might add a few more, and I'm thinking gradually I'm going to turn this space into a little bit of a food forest, like a permaculture tree guild style. So currently we've got the trees and these 5 perennial flowers. So I got some native speedwell here, and then this is me we're talking about. I purchased 2 more rose bushes for in this space. My mom and I were at Smucker's yesterday, and they had all of their roses 30% off, so it was a pretty good deal. So this is a David Austin. This one is called Tranquility. It is a shrub style, sorry, this cat's tail, shrub style, so it should be about 4 feet tall and wide. And then we walk over here. Everything's looking a little bit sad because I just transplanted, so we got some transplant shock going on. This here is an Annabelle smooth hydrangea in like a creamy white, not blooming quite yet, and that should also fill out this space nicely here, about 5 feet wide by 5 feet tall in the back behind the trees. And then 1 more speedwell, and then this here is not a David Austin rose, but I loved her. She is yellow variety. It's a grandiflora by Star Roses and Plants. Name is Moonlight Romantica. Also a shrub variety, about 4 feet wide by 4 feet tall. And then that pretty much wraps up what I think I'm gonna do with flowers as of right now. And then anything else I would add, I'm thinking blueberry bushes, currants, maybe some mushroom spores in the wood chips here. They would thrive in this location. Probably some medicinal plants, some comfrey, maybe some echinacea, some other herbs in here. Maybe some sort of vines to grow up the trees and really have it be like a tree guild permaculture type food forest with some perennial flowers for pollinators thrown in. This grapevine back here is really thriving this year. There are so many little clusters of grapes on here this year, so that's really exciting. All of the squash have started to take off, so they've put on a whole bunch of vining growth here. Sorry, my child is being my child. She's something else back there with the chickens. Yeah, so all of my squash here are doing really well. You can see here just how much growth the tomatoes have put back on since last week when I heavily pruned them. They're all flowering now, a bunch of little clusters on there, so very soon it will be tomato season. Down here, the nasturtium looking beautiful. These are all vining varieties. You can see, like, there's the base. And they're starting to spread. I was really hoping they would all just fill out majorly and just sprawl all over the front of this bed. I don't think I mentioned before, I did go ahead and sow some carrots, a row of them, down the whole middle of this bed. So we'll see how they do here, getting some shade from these nasturtium. So there's the back of the property. We'll make our way to the front. These sweet peas are just so beautiful. These were a volunteer. I'm not even sure how this happened because the last time I planted sweet peas was about 2 years ago, but I'm glad it did happen. They just really work in this space and they smell so good and the pollinators love them. They are very toxic, so be careful with children. I have a lot of toxic plants here, but I teach my kids from a really young age what is poisonous and what is not, so they're very well aware of what they should not be messing with in here, and I'm always very mindful of where they're at while I'm out here. Here you can see it's producing little seed pods, so we could save some seed from this as well. My echinacea, this is 3-year-old echinacea, getting ready to bloom soon, and I just saw the first little tinges of color on the butterfly bush popping. It's gonna be a big one this year. It has grown so much since last year. This here is fennel. It perennialized. I didn't necessarily want it here, but I left it here for the butterflies. However, I don't know if anyone else is experiencing it this year, but I have seen pretty much 0 butterflies. Pollinators in general have been super low, and I mean, I have the perfect space for them to come and indulge themselves, and I'm not seeing any, so you're gonna hear the door creaking. It's very windy today, which is a huge bummer. I have seen no caterpillars, no eggs. I think I've seen 1 butterfly since the beginning of spring, which is pretty sad. I'm hoping that's not the case for the rest of the season, but let me know if you're noticing that as well. Coming back around, Liatris is throwing up their spikes. So we'll have some purple and white Liatris here. That's a PA native as well. In here a bit further, we have another delphinium. It's gonna be in bloom soon, a white one. I love these so much. I want to add just a ton of foxglove, delphinium, and hollyhock to my garden back here every year. Columbine is on its way out. Last few blooms here. I already trimmed this one back a bit. Random self-seeded calendula all over the place back here that are blooming. Peonies are done, and Olivia Rose here is finishing up her first big flush. We'll have 1 or 2 more and just a few like sporadic blooms here until the next big flush later on. Still beautiful though. I have had some sort of bug damage here, but that happens pretty much every year, and I can't always keep on top of it, but it hasn't been super horrible. Just look at her though. She's a stunner. Love this one. Super fragrant. Some cupcake dwarf cosmos here. I look like little cupcake liners. Isn't that fun? That one is just a regular cosmos here. Strawberries are still producing in through here. Back here we still have a little bit of our foxgloves left. You can see all of the spent blooms up these spikes. There's just a few more at the top. They'll be done here soon. Yarrow is about to open up. This is my pink variety. It's called cerise. And here, some more nasturtium down there. Hollyhocks are putting on a little bit of growth still. I haven't seen any spikes yet. These were supposed to bloom on their first year, so we shall see if that will hold true. These newer lavender down here, really slow growing. Hopefully they put on a good bit of growth before winter. Some more foxglove. and a pink variety of Speedwell there. Back here, we do have some new color. This is a delphinium, and another one here. I'm not sure what color this one is going to be. But down here, Boscobel has bloomed. Pretty little coral variety. Down here, still a really small plant. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I now have 12, 13 rose bushes. And what I have noticed, at least from the bare root varieties that I get in and plant in the spring, is that in their first year of growth, they don't really show their true blooms yet, or even their true color. That's not exactly what Boscobel should look like. I'm not worried about it because I know in the second year it will look like what it's supposed to. I've noticed that with every single one of my David Austin roses. If I get them bare root, the first blooms that come off of it aren't quite right. Chamomile, going wild. It smells so good. I need to harvest this again. I just did it last night. Really quickly to bloom new flowers. And like I said before, if you want to get a good harvest off of your chamomile, you need to be continually picking off of it so it keeps producing. Back in here, I have just so much in here. Lady's Mantle, I love that, like chartreuse green popping out of here. There's some Astilbe here that has not put on any flowers yet, but soon. More chamomile, a whole bunch of calendula. There's hollyhock down in here, some foxglove. And this one, which I shared in my last video, this is another David Austin I got this year. This is Homestead Wood, absolutely beautiful. It should be just a little bit darker than this. I tried to put it in a shady spot in hopes that the sun wouldn't bleach it too much. That also has a role in what your blooms look like. Lots of copper plume back here. I see a couple little blooms here on the black-eyed Susan. Soon, ton of calendula, ton of strawberries. And then we go around front. And then Lady of Shalott is here, still blooming. This one is like a continual bloomer. It doesn't have like super huge flushes, but you just always see pops of color on it, which I love. So here is Cottage Garden, looking really lush. Week 5. The Generous Gardener here is pretty much done with its first flush. Almost all of the blooms on there are starting to wilt and fall. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer for another rose show. The raspberries are going nuts there. Cucumbers, here I put on a whole bunch of growth. I need to pick this guy back up and get him climbing again. Come on, go in there. There we go. Zucchini and some herbs. Celery are doing wonderful. Peppers have still been super slow growing, just not quite hot enough for them, but that's coming. I see the 10-day forecast. It's like 85 and above for the next 10 days. Petunias are loving this location, starting to get nice and bushy. Here's the toothache plant. That's what their blooms look like. You chomp on these and they literally will numb your mouth, which is really interesting. I think I may have found some allium leaf miner damage here on some of these onions. Now, I just have onions sporadically planted all throughout my bed, so there's really no way I could cover all of them. And that's about the only method I've found to really help with leaf miners, the allium leaf miners. So we will see. Some of them look totally fine, but others kind of have these gnarly looking twisted leaves, I guess is what you call these. And I did see some like white streaking on some of them. So we will see. The shallots still look fine. I didn't notice any damage over there. They're starting to bend just because they're getting really tall. But other than that, they look really healthy. Carrots here look fantastic. So nice and healthy. and put on probably like 3 or 4 inches of growth just since last week, which is just nuts to me. Back here are the potatoes, and I did notice some tubers. See them in there? I see 2 right there, and a little itty bitty one. I'll cover them back up, so the next month or so, maybe we'll be harvesting some potatoes. Along the kiwi vine here, I think we're gonna have some fruit this year. You see that little guy? There's probably like a dozen of them on here, which is so fun. I've had this thing in here for 4 years and it has yet to do something. It's been so slow growing. I don't know what its problem is, but perhaps this year we shall see something. Bush beans have bushed. I don't see, I mean, this is gonna be a flower right there, so that'll be fun. I like to freeze dry them and put like some homemade ranch seasoning mix on them for like a chip snack for my kiddos. Healthy option. Some more beets. This love and a mist here. Beautiful. This periwinkle blue. Some more onions over here, which look perfectly fine. This rosemary's looking healthy. Some, oh, what are you? Marjoram. And my singular eggplant here. It's getting devoured by flea beetles. This happens every year. That's flea beetle damage. More taters. And back here, look at all of these peas. Lots of pea pods happening, lots of blooms. Just all over the place. Look at this little itty bitty guy. And then this is a different variety here. I love all the different colors. It has like this super periwinkle type bloom. And then these are yellow. Isn't that fun? I think I have like 6 different varieties of peas. Most of them are just shelling. As you can see, I need to do some weeding here in the raised beds. This is sweet potatoes. They've established nicely now. And then tomatillos, a lot more weeds. I need to do that. Here, I found a whole bunch of potato bugs. So I dusted these. Let's see. You see them right there. I dusted these with some DE, and I also sprayed them with some like Captain Jack. So we will see if that does the trick. Crown Princess Margareta. Just a couple blooms here at the top, but I don't know which one's my favorite. I do love this one. This one like just pulls at my heartstrings. I love it so much. The strawberries are finally starting to slow down. There are still a couple in here in this bed down there, but not quite as much as there used to be. I've been still bringing in about 8 pounds a day. So if you're counting, in the last video I said we were at 98. Now we're at 106. So we'll see if we get to 150 this year. Honestly, that's just mind-blowing to me. I never imagined being able to grow that many strawberries in a smaller space. I've shared how many beds before. I'll do it again. I have a 4x10, 2 4x8s, 6 2x3s, and then I have a whole bunch back there in the cottage garden just sprinkled in the ground. I probably have close to 750 strawberry plants. However, not all of them are producing. Like this bed back here, that one has maybe given me like 2 pounds of strawberries because I just planted that bed this year. This bed here, that's given me like, it's probably given me like 80 of those pounds of strawberries just from that one bed. That's on its 2nd year, and it's just super healthy. It did really well. My 3rd year bed in the back, That one I'm gonna have to, I think, transplant in a lot of the runners next year because it's been giving me super tiny strawberries. That happens as your strawberry plants age. The mother plants only have so much energy to give, and they start to produce less and less and give you smaller and smaller strawberries. So every 3 to 4 years, I like to come in and replace all of the older plants with the new runners that they have put off. So looks like this fall I'm gonna have to do that back there. And then the 2x6 beds, honestly, I feel like I planted those just to feed slugs. I did get a few off of them, but the majority of that harvest came from this one bed. So you don't necessarily need 750 plants. If all 750 plants performed like that one bed, I would literally be swimming in strawberries. We're gonna have to harvest kale soon. Look at all these beets in here. They're looking much happier now since I oh, look at that one. That one is ready to be harvested. That's a beautiful color. So there's a couple in here that might be ready for harvesting. Some I planted later than others. They have smaller beets in there, but they're much happier since I sprayed for those leaf miners. Not really any new damage in there, so that's great. Leeks here look good. No pest pressure there. Still waiting for these pepper plants to catch up, but I did find a few flowers. More kale, some holy basil back in there. We'll have to harvest that soon for some tea. Okay, back in the medicinal garden. So it's pulled apart a little bit because Mr. Grant is looking for bugs. He's bug hunting, so he pulls out the rocks and all of my planters and looks underneath them. This here is orange mint. I need to harvest all my mints again. Orange mint and mojito mint, feverfew, blanket flower, more calendula. I do need to come in here with the hoe and get out some of these weeds. I forgot that I planted a little viola down here. Isn't that so cute? I think this one's called the Antique Mix from Baker Creek. Love that. This here, oh, there's a weed. Get you out of there. Banana mint, literally smells like banana. Lemon balm, this is the cayenne pepper. I kept that away from my other peppers so we didn't have any heat transfer. Pineapple sage is ready to be harvested from. Again, I have marshmallow root down here. I don't know if I showed that to you before. Marshmallow root. This one here is lobelia. Look at how much growth that put on. That's amazing. Some weeds. Gotta get those out of here. Some bay leaf. What, honey? Cabbage. This looks so healthy up here. I did put some more carrots in this bed as well, just sprinkled throughout down in there. And passion flower. I haven't really seen any blooming to harvest yet, but it has all these new pods on here. What you got?
Isopods.
Isopods?
I got 2 big ones.
Well, you got little roly-polies.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude.
I have a lot.
You got a lot?
Yeah.
So cool. You're the best bug hunter, you and your sister. Okay, so the only advice I got in my last video about the pollination issue with my elderberries is that I probably don't have enough. I need to get some more plants, so we will probably be getting some more elderberries here in the near future. There is one nursery local to me that I know that carries them, so I'm gonna go see if they have any left and see how much they are. Look at all of these raspberries. This is the Purple Royalty variety. Look at all those ants on there pollinating that guy. Huh. So next couple of weeks we'll have some of those. This is the hedge that I did not mow to the ground, so it's already producing. Like there's some in there from the Joan Jay. You can see a whole bunch in throughout there. We'll have another good raspberry harvest here soon. Some valerian, more lemon balm. And there's the stinging nettle that got me. Down here is horehound, some more tomatoes. All of these potatoes are looking good. These are the strawberry beds that fed the slugs there and over there in the corner. I'm walking down here. I think we're gonna be harvesting this garlic soon, and whatever we get. It's just starting to look really bad. I usually harvest it when it's like 50% brown, which it pretty much is at this point, but it's like way early this year. I usually don't do that till like the middle of July. And we are into the second week of June. So that's strange this year. More lavender. That there's apple mint that Grant has moved out. Calendula. Bone set. More tomato. And then in here I have a random mix of onions, the gooseberry, and some more celery. Take a quick look here at the blueberries, and then we'll go over to the side of the house. Look at these. I'm so impressed with how straggly this little bush was looking. It's put on a lot of blueberries. We got this guy loaded. This one doesn't have any. This one has some nice clusters in here. This one looks like it's gonna be ready the earliest. There's 3 different varieties here that pollinate against each other. So we got all of those blueberries. This one I don't think has anything. This one just has a couple here. And then this one has a couple. So maybe we'll get a few pints. That's fun. This year, I don't know that I've really shown in much detail. This is our pond. It's somewhat of a disaster. There's a plastic bag in it. That's great. Yeah, it's been super neglected because we just only have so much time. Oh, look, there's honeysuckle. I didn't even know that I owned honeysuckle. Do you see that back there? Huh, interesting. But it's just completely overgrown back in here. There are some tire lilies here, but a lot of this is just weeds. Random maple tree that has decided, a couple that have decided to grow in there. We need to like just come in here and overhaul the space, but time has just always been an issue. But there is like a nice little waterfall feature here, which is currently broken. So hopefully in the near future we can get to that. But let's walk up here. Look at how filled in this bed is. This is loaded with rabbit droppings. So they're loving that. A whole bunch of snapdragons and Alaskan, I think, nasturtium, and some cosmos. There's a tomato there. Some more snapdragon, and then I have my green stock here planted with petunias and different herbs. I should come through and water this. This is looking a little bit dry. I really struggle with keeping my green stock watered and like actually retaining some moisture. It dries out on me so quickly, and I'm not sure why, but I still love it. Look at this massive beast. This is mullein, and it has bloomed. Look at that. Need to harvest some more of that there. This foxglove is pretty much done for. This is looking a little sad over here. Not really looking super healthy. I need to come and fertilize this maybe. So here's all of my spinach that went to seed. I said I was going to replant, and I just didn't get around to it. That's just the story of my life. I need to pull all this out. The lettuce still looks good. Lots of lettuce. And the cabbage is getting eaten here now by something. I don't see any caterpillar droppings, but that's probably what that is. I don't see any caterpillars. So, update on this area. So, this area. Unfortunately, we've had an issue come up with some water getting into our basement. It's seeping in through the block walls, and behind me here, let me spin. See that pump there? There is an old well here that used to be connected to the house, and it was since modernized and rerouted out to the garage, and that's what we use to water our entire garden. We've been here now close to a decade, and this is the first time we've ever had water in a basement like that. And we think there's a problem either with the pump or a line running underground. Something has burst. So once we turned off the pump out there, the water issues ceased. So we're pretty certain that's where the water is coming from. So that means most likely digging out this entire garden space that I have finally mulched and somewhat landscaped. So that's a bummer. Joys of being a homeowner. These things just happen. But we do need to get that taken care of so that we can use that well. Again, we're hoping we don't have to bring in like big equipment, like an excavator, and dig out everything. We're hoping we can pinpoint a bit where these pipes might be so we can just dig straight down in that one area and not ruin everything. We will see. Okay, my friends, the wind is picking up. We're actually getting ready to leave. We're going to go to the World War II Air Show in Wyomissing, PA. Really awesome, you know, just World War II reenacting. There's a bunch of flyovers. Lots of different like encampments set up. Really interesting. We like to keep our kids familiar with history. So we're heading there in just a few minutes. I'm going to wrap this tour up now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If any questions, please let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I would just love to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video, share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. That helps my channel grow. We really appreciate that. You all have a blessed week, and I will see you next time. Take care.